Good Sunday morning. This is the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for the upcoming week. Looking at our impacts map, we have no significant impacts immediately. Be some isolated thunderstorms over southeastern portions of Utah later this afternoon. Looking at breezy conditions developing towards midweek, that'll be our first significant weather pattern that we'll be keeping an eye on. In terms of precipitation the past 24 hours, just some scattered light amounts through the area where you see the lighter shades of gray, which indicates 1/10 of an inch or less, or the blues. Wherever you see the dark blues or greens, that's where you see rainfall amounts of a 1/2 inch to an inch or more. On the right-hand side, you see the lightning map and some lightning across parts of the mountains of the south-central Utah and down into southern Nevada. Otherwise, most of the area stayed lightning-free over the past 24 hours. New fire starts in the red circles through there, existing fires in the yellow, large fires, ongoing incidents outlined in the purple, mostly up in Idaho and western Wyoming at the present time. Looking at precipitation on the left over the past 7 days, you can see that much of Idaho and northern Nevada, northern Utah stayed dry. We did have some good wetting rains across southern, especially southwestern portions of Utah into adjacent Nevada and the Arizona Strip. The green shade is over 1/2 inch of rain. And you can see a similar story over the past 30 days with our heaviest rains in that same location. Those yellow amounts you see there are amounts over 1.5 inches to 2 inches, but again, that's over a month's time, and half of that fell in the past 7 days. With that, we take a look at our ERC conditions and our percentiles. You can see where we had that wetness. We continue to see moist ERCs, and the downward arrows on them indicate that they are trending downwards. Our most critical areas are in far northern Utah and Nevada and going up into much of Idaho. Areas in purple are where fuels or ERCs are at or above the 97th percentile. Look at satellite imagery and upper level maps. We still have some moisture circulating back from Colorado back into southeastern portions of Utah. So any isolated showers or thunderstorms not out of the question there. Otherwise, we're in between a weak low that's over Arizona and high pressure off the South Pacific coast. Of bigger consequence will be this low pressure area dropping down out of the Gulf of Alaska, and these tightened height lines in the yellow indicate increasing winds, which could play a role in our weather by the middle of the upcoming week. So looking at today's weather pattern on the left, weak low pressure actually in the four corners, providing a flow of moisture from Colorado wrapping into parts of eastern and southern Utah with scattered showers. Otherwise, where you see the tannish shade, you see the drier air is pushing in. Our dryness levels on the right-hand side, quite moist across southern and eastern areas, driest to the north. And taking a look at today's expected weather conditions on the left-hand side, humidity, single digits across much of Nevada and low to mid-teens across much of northern Utah and into parts of Idaho and western Wyoming. On the right-hand side, winds mostly light across most areas except moderate here a little bit across parts of the Snake River Plain in Idaho. The darker green are wind gusts anywhere from 15 to 20 miles per hour. The orange, about 25 miles per hour. Now on Monday, no big change. We see the moisture moving out, drier air pushing in with these tannish shades. We'll be watching this low pressure area dropping down from the north, dryness levels on the right-hand side. Weather conditions for tomorrow, again, similar story with the humidity levels, quite dry across Nevada and northwest Utah. Looking on the right-hand side, the winds, you see them starting to increase ahead of that trough dropping down from the north across parts of Oregon and far northwestern Nevada. That's a trend that we'll be watching towards the middle part of next week. And as we get into Tuesday, we see that trough of low pressure dropping down, the wind field tightening up. There'll be some moisture through here as well across parts of Oregon. Might be some showers or thunderstorms developing, and they do have high risk there for either a combination of wind and or lightning. Our dryness levels on the right-hand side. But let's take a look at weather conditions on Tuesday. And on the right-hand side, you see some of the stronger winds. Those oranges are gusts over 25 miles per hour starting to push into northwestern Nevada. And southerly winds, a pretty good southerly wind belt developing across parts of central Idaho. And up in the mountainous areas where we have some of our incidents, we could see gusts of over 25 miles per hour. Could be even more so on Wednesday. That's a day that we'll be very concerned with. Over the next 3 days, not much in the way of precipitation, just some scattered light activity across the Wasatch, especially down towards Cedar City and southern Utah. As we go further down the road into Wednesday, there's a deep trough of low pressure tightening up to southerly wind gradient. We'll have to keep an eye on that because our fuels up in those areas are quite dry. Thursday, again, a good push. We see lots of moisture with this system, which you sometimes get as you get into early September, but drier air pushing on the south end across much of the western and northern portion of the Great Basin with increasing winds, so that'll be another concern. On Friday, looks like we missed that moisture. That area in the green stays mostly to our north. We stay breezy and dry. You notice the right-hand side or where our fuels are the driest. And then by Saturday, we're kind of in a zonal flow between low and high pressure, so we'll see what that wind produces, but we stay fairly dry with seasonable temperatures. Precipitation next 7 days, again, looks like the first 3 days, that's where most of that precipitation occurs. Otherwise, most areas should stay dry. And our 8 to 14 day outlook, which takes us from September 4th through September 10th, shows a much cooler than normal signal here across much of the west. Also wetter than normal for much of Idaho into parts of western Wyoming. Normal everywhere else. So we'll see if that is a harbinger of our first late summer, early fall Alaska type storm system that drops down. This concludes our briefing. Have a great day.